That's your set temperature right there.
Yep.
You can, up and down here, you can adjust that if you want to.
And at what point would we need to?
You shouldn't, unless you're wanting to, you running some fabric that you need to run a lower temperature or something.
And is that typically known as you buy fabric and the specs of the fabric you buy, or is that just something you got to play with and figure it out?
Some of it's in the specs of the fabric, I think, as well as some of it's, if you notice running through and it's stretching a whole lot, like, well, you know,
Yep.
6 inches or so stretch, then
Lower the temperature?
then you would want to lower the temperature a little bit, and then you're going to you're probably going to want to slow down your speed a little bit also.
Okay.
But
Okay. And then what are these failure lights?
so if there is a failure or something, usually
Yep.
this light will come on.
Okay.
I'll go through the whole startup and what these do. If you do pull an emergency
Yep.
stop,
Yep.
once you reset it,
Yep.
you'll press reset. When it's been pulled, it'll light up red here.
Okay.
And then to reset it, you just press that button.
Yep.
Once you. So let's see, the one in the back here. To reset the emergency cable in the back, that's inside the panel here. There's a blue button on this. You have to press it hard, and it'll click.
Okay.
Reset.
And then one on the front,
One
is that
on
one?
the front side is over here on this side of the panel. Right up top here, the blue button. And then there's the emergency stop on the panel there. Just press it and then spin up. Yep. Your typical.
Go ahead and say that again, I'm sorry.
So when you pull it, then you'll reset it inside first, and then once you've reset it inside, you'll press the emergency reset there, and it'll turn this emergency red light off. So it means you're good to start it back up.
Gotcha.
Right, so this one is strictly heat.
Yeah, that's strictly your heat there.
This is strictly the speed,
Strictly
the
speed.
blue one there.
Sorry, I'm not.
This is your main power on for the machine.
Okay.
This turns the motor on
Yep.
and starts the belt rotating.
Yep.
This turns the heat on.
Okay. And right now, approximate heat up time for this is going to be about 2.5 hours right now.
Well, it was 9:45 and I started at 8.
An hour and
So it's about
45.
an hour and 45 minutes. That's what we're looking at, I think.
All right. What is this?
That's your cutoff power for the
Okay.
machine.
All right. All right. And then startup procedure. You turn the motor on and then the heat.
This will tend to be always on. So you want to turn the main power on.
Okay.
So you'll turn the motor on.
Yep.
It'll do a buzzer, and then it'll start as soon as you start seeing it rotating. You can turn on the heat.
Okay. Now what about shutdown procedure?
Shutdown procedure. All you're going to do is turn the heat off,
Yep.
and that activates a cool down timer about an
Yep.
hour and 15 minutes,
Okay.
and it'll shut the motor off after an hour.
So it
an hour and
automatically
15
shuts
minutes.
down. So
Yeah.
in theory, if we leave at say 5 o'clock, we can turn it off at 5 o'clock. It automatically
And then-
does its own thing. We don't have to do
Yep.
anything.
Exactly.
All right. Is there anything else we have not captured on
At least
video?
until you get that
Yes,
breaker.
exactly, exactly.
Get that breaker.
Is there anything we've not captured on video at this point?
Got load up.
So we got the webbing. We know how to do the tissue paper. We know what all the controls are. We know how to reset
Resets.
inside.
If you do have an issue where you come in and it won't turn on,
Yep.
the motor won't turn on,
Yep.
the first thing you check is little antennas on either side of the blanket. If the blanket's touching those are the end switches. So
Okay.
if the blanket starts running off,
Yep.
it'll hit that and shut the machine off.
So what would be the cause of the blanket starting to run off then?
It would be long time over period without stretching and then not tracking correctly.
And is there adjustment for that?
And yes, there is. I would go over adjustment when you do have that problem, but back here, this is your guide bar for the blanket.
Okay.
This bar will go up or down. This senses where the blanket is.
Okay.
So it'll send it down if it's tracking off that way, or it's tracking over this way. If this bar is all the way down or all the way up, then you very well know you have an issue with tracking.
Yep.
And then that's what you'll go to look at first. It's
So we're talking about the blanket itself. Is the blanket stretched over time?
over time it stretches, and then as it stretches it shrinks in.
Yep.
So typical life of the belt is about 4 years.
Okay.
4 to 5 years. I've seen people run them for up to 8 years. It all depends on how often you're running it. And this belt is basically brand new.
That belt on the floor is actually good when they get the after.
So you should be all set with the belt. Should be in the belt for a long while.
I don't know how you do that, but it looks.
It's the whole machine comes apart, yeah.
If I want to tear down, set it up, tear down,
Pretty
set
much,
it
yeah.
up times, but there's no
That pretty much
issue.
covers everything. I didn't go over the knobs here. These knobs put tension on the rollers.
Yeah.
So you just tension it up until everything's nice and flat.
Yep.
If it's bouncing around, jumping around, you have too much tension.
Yep.
It's with this one, it's kind of a feel thing, and watching what the paper and everything's doing.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, that's got a little. Well, that one's not jumping so much; it's creeping. If I turn it, it's moving up a minute. You'll start seeing it bounce more once it. So that's so fun. Just kind of like that, so if I tighten it up more, you'll see it kind of flexing. And that's when you know you're on place. That's just a little bit of chatter. That's not very good.
So Daniel, you want to get some close-ups of how it's webbed in there, best you can, and then I think you're good to go.
Okay.
Oh, one last thing is this gauge here is for the belt pressure. You'll typically run 3.5 to 4 bar on the blanket. You should never have to change
3.5 to 4 bar.
Uh-huh. At the end, when your blanket's starting to get worn out and having issues tracking, sometimes a solution to get it to run a little bit longer is turn the blanket pressure up so it allows it to track a little easier. But other than that, you should never have to touch deal with the pressure of the blanket. That covers everything.
So I guess I'll try to do the weave again.
What's that?
I'll try to do.
Yeah,
You want me to follow the weave? Is that what you want me to do?
Yeah, of all the different, the paper and the camber.
Okay.
So we go from this bar up through this tension bar.
Too close. Okay, go ahead.
Bottom bar here, up through the tension bar, up over this. And it'll go in, and then it'll follow the blanket and roll up top here.
Right, it's following the blanket. Okay, right from there. So it's going from there
I think you need the tissue all the time.
to the blanket. Okay, and then the blanket just does the rest, right?
Yeah. And then your paper feeds in under this bar.
Where's the paper start? Right here. Okay.
So
Paper.
it'll feed in under this bar. It'll go into the machine.
Okay.
When it comes out of the machine, it goes underneath this bar in the tray. And it comes up and takes up here.
Gotcha. Okay.